My cousin pretended to be me online. Part 1. I found out my cousin had been pretending to be me online when my boyfriend called me by a nickname I never gave him. At first, I thought it was just a weird slip. You know when someone accidentally mixes up a name or something? But the nickname he called me wasn't random. It was specific. He said, "Good night, my moon." I just stared at him, because in the 2 years we had been together, he had never called me that. Not once. So I laughed and said, "Moon?" And he looked confused, like I was the one acting strange. He said, "You told me that was the nickname you liked." That's when something in my stomach dropped, because I knew for a fact I had never said that. At first, I brushed it off. I thought maybe he confused something I said earlier, but then it kept happening. He would reference conversations we supposedly had, conversations I had no memory of. Like one time he said, "Didn't you say you wanted to visit Seattle together next year?" I said, "No." Then he said, "You literally told me that last week." I started feeling crazy, like maybe I was forgetting things, until one night he showed me something that made everything make sense. We were laying on the couch when he opened Instagram, and he showed me a message from me. Except I never sent it. It was my profile picture, my name, my photos, but it wasn't my account. It was a second page, an entire account pretending to be me. I felt my chest tighten, because the messages on that page were personal, flirty, like the person running it knew him well. And the worst part? He said he had been talking to that account for months, while we were still together. My brain couldn't even process it. I said, "That's not me." He thought I was joking. He said, "Stop playing." So I opened my real account, showed him my messages, showed him I never sent any of that. That's when his face changed, because the fake account had been telling him things only someone close to me would know. My favorite restaurant, my childhood nickname, even stories about my family, which meant whoever was running that account knew me in real life very well. And that's when I started thinking about who could possibly have that kind of information. There weren't many options. Friends, family, people who had known me for years. But the one person who suddenly came to mind made my stomach twist. My cousin. Because my cousin had always been weirdly obsessed with my life. Growing up, she copied everything I did. If I dyed my hair, she dyed hers. If I bought new clothes, she bought the same ones. If I started talking to someone, she suddenly wanted to know everything about them. At the time, I thought it was just normal cousin stuff, but suddenly it didn't feel so innocent anymore. So I checked something. The fake account had posted pictures, but they weren't new pictures. They were pictures from my old social media, pictures only someone who had been following me for years would recognize. And then I noticed something else. The account followed my cousin, but my cousin didn't follow it back, which is exactly what someone would do if they didn't want people realizing the connection. My heart started racing. So I did something risky. I messaged the fake account from my real page. I wrote, "Who is this?" For a minute, nothing happened. Then the typing bubble appeared, and the reply that came back made my hands start shaking. It said, "Relax. I was just helping you." Helping me? Helping me do what? I said, "Who are you?" Then the account sent something that made my entire body go cold. A picture. Not a random picture. A picture taken inside my house, in my bedroom. And that's when I realized something terrifying. Because the only person who had been in my room recently was my cousin. When that picture popped up on the screen, my heart dropped. Because it wasn't just any picture. It was a photo of my bedroom. My actual bedroom. The same one my cousin had been sitting in just 2 days earlier when she came over to hang out. I remember staring at the phone like my brain was lagging. Because there was only one way that photo could exist. Someone who had been in my house took it. And the only person who had been in my room recently was my cousin. My boyfriend was sitting next to me watching my face change. He said, What's wrong? I turned the phone around and showed him the picture. He looked confused at first, then his eyebrows pulled together. Isn't that your room? Exactly. So now my stomach is doing that nervous twist, where you know something bad is about to be confirmed. I typed back to the fake account. Why do you have a picture of my room? The typing bubble appeared immediately. Then the reply came back. Because I've been there. My hands started shaking, so I typed one more message. Is this Sarah? Sarah was my cousin, the person I had known since we were kids, the person who had literally just sat on my bed laughing with me a couple days earlier. For a full minute there was no response. Then the message came through, and it said, "You figured it out faster than I thought." My chest felt like someone punched it, because suddenly, every weird moment over the past few months started making sense. The way my cousin always asked questions about my relationship. The way she always wanted to know when my boyfriend and I were fighting. The way she followed him on social media out of nowhere. At the time, I thought she was just curious. But now it looked like she had been collecting information, using it, and pretending to be me. My boyfriend grabbed the phone. You're telling me your cousin has been messaging me pretending to be you this whole time? I nodded slowly, because the proof was right there. He scrolled through the messages again, and his face started changing, because the fake account wasn't just having normal conversations. The messages were personal, flirty, even romantic. And the worst part? The fake account had been telling him things like, "I don't think our relationship is working anymore," which meant my cousin had been slowly sabotaging my relationship from the inside. My boyfriend looked up at me. Why would she do this? That was the question I couldn't answer, because I had never done anything to her, at least not that I knew of. Then another message popped up from the fake account. It said, "Don't act shocked. You always thought you were better than me." Better than her? That sentence made something click in my brain, because growing up, my cousin had always compared herself to me. If I got good grades, she complained that teachers liked me more. If someone complimented my outfit, she would say, "People only liked me because I was lucky." I always brushed those comments off, but maybe she never let them go. Maybe this had been building for years. My boyfriend said quietly, "Does she know I'm sitting here?" I typed back, "Why are you pretending to be me?" This time the response took longer. Then finally, another message appeared. Because he deserved to know the real you, the real me. I felt anger building in my chest now, so I wrote back, "You mean the fake version you made up?" Then 3 dots appeared again. But instead of a message, the account sent something else, a screenshot. And when I looked at it, my stomach dropped again, because it was a conversation between my cousin and my boyfriend from weeks earlier. And the messages weren't from the fake account. They were from her real one, which meant she hadn't just been pretending to be me. She had been talking to him as herself too. And the messages were way too friendly, way too personal. My boyfriend looked at the screen. Then he looked at me. And the question he asked next made my heart start racing. He said quietly, "Did you know your cousin and I were already talking before the fake account started?" I froze, because that was the first time I was hearing that. And suddenly, the entire situation felt even worse. Because if they were already talking, then this wasn't just my cousin pretending to be me. This was something else entirely, something bigger. And the message that popped up next confirmed it. Because my cousin wrote, "You should probably tell her the truth now." And my boyfriend suddenly looked nervous. Final update. When my cousin sent that message, "You should probably tell her the truth now," my stomach dropped. Because the second I read it, I noticed something strange. My boyfriend suddenly looked nervous, not confused, not shocked, nervous. And that's when a thought hit me that I didn't want to believe. I slowly looked at him and said, "What truth?" He didn't answer right away. He rubbed the back of his neck and stared at the phone like it had personally betrayed him. Then he sighed. And that sigh alone made my chest tighten, because it sounded like the kind of sigh someone makes when they know they're about to admit something bad. Finally, he said, I didn't know it was her at first. At first, I blinked. What do you mean at first? He looked at the floor. And that's when the full story started coming out. Apparently, my cousin had messaged him months earlier from her real account. At the time, she told him she wanted advice. She said she was worried about me. Said I had been complaining about our relationship. Said I was thinking about breaking up with him. Which, for the record, was a complete lie. But he believed her. Because she was my cousin. Someone he assumed he could trust. Then a few weeks later, the fake account appeared. Pretending to be me. And that account started telling him all kinds of things. Things like, I'm not sure I love you anymore. I think we rushed into this relationship. Maybe we should take a break? Basically, every message was designed to slowly push him away from me. And the worst part? He believed it. Because the account looked exactly like me. Same pictures, same name, same profile. And since my cousin already planted doubt in his head, the messages felt real. But then I asked the question that had been sitting in my chest this entire time. Why didn't you ask me about it? Because if someone you're dating starts saying weird things online, wouldn't you just talk to them? He hesitated, then said something that made my stomach twist. I thought you were trying to break up with me without saying it directly. Trying to break up with him. So instead of confronting me, he started pulling away too, which explained everything. The distance, the weird conversations, the tension between us. Our relationship had basically been falling apart because my cousin was controlling both sides of the story. I felt sick. Not just angry, sick. Because someone I trusted had literally been manipulating my life behind the scenes. Then, my phone buzzed again. Another message from the fake account. My cousin wrote, "Are you two done talking yet?" I typed back immediately. "Why are you doing this?" This time her response came quickly, and it was brutally honest. She said, "Because everything in your life always works out." I stared at the message. Then another one came. "You always get the good boyfriend." Another. "You always get the attention." And then the one that explained everything. "I just wanted to see what would happen if I took one thing from you." That sentence hit harder than I expected, because suddenly all those years of subtle jealousy made sense. This wasn't about my boyfriend. It wasn't about love. It was about competition. And in her mind, she had been competing with me our entire lives. My boyfriend looked over my shoulder and read the message.